Mic check. There you go. Fantastic. I've just posted it on Instagram. I think I posted my other page, not Instagram. So sorry if you're seeing it now. Oops, Daisy. Instagram will look the same. Let's see if it's posted. Give me 17 seconds. This is your host, Rap Raven. Yep, now live. It looks that way. Cool. Fantastic. Welcome to the Black Band broadcast. This is, what one is this one? This is let me go backwards with the PDF that we must bless. There we go. What number? Is it 170? So the 170. This is 170 times we have worked on this broadcast to bring Black people together to be constructive. Isn't that great? Good stuff. Got a good show today. Hope you can join in some form or another. Yes, very nice. All right. So don't forget to follow the Black Betterment Building Instagram, which I shall. Oh man, it's not even. Hold on. Why am I not selecting that? Is it select? It's just me, is it? I should be. What's going on there? Well, I can see it there. So have they updated? So I can't see. Oh, it's because it's on hands. I make apps and I don't even know. I see this is terrible. Hold on. So where's the? It's all gone pear shaped there. Hold on. Where's the selecting? Let's press V. Usually V works. There you go. This is my knowledge of many years of computing and app designing. There you go. V always makes it work. If you didn't know, now you know. So we put that there. That's the Black Betterment Instagram. Be a friend. So we're going to start how we always start. Very important start statements. These statements are so important. They'll help you everywhere you go. When it comes to working as a collective with only Black people on matters that benefit Black issues, Black progression, and Black ownership, Black people are collectively inadequate. Yep. Oh, yeah. Individually, you might find a non-Black person who shows some kind of camaraderie towards Black people. However, Black people have no friends. There you go. Being bold there. But most importantly, constructive Black man with constructive Black woman makes a constructive Black family. Now, when we say these 3 starting statements, we always try to see if we can see how that resonates with the topics of the day, because they usually interact with every topic of the day, all 3 of them, funny enough. And let's see if you can make that connect the dots, do your Columbo or the Black equivalent of a Columbo. Maybe what's that show? Is it Luther? I think it's a British show called Luther. He's a detective. I want to say that's the show. So do your Luther skills. I do like Columbo. That was a very good show. Anyway, so we always start like this: discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment, the 4D values. So when you jump on live, if you do jump on live, don't forget those 4Ds. Very handy indeed if you want to be constructive. That's what we're doing. And please don't use any kind of derogatory language. I know it's hard. Many people get used to just using F-bombs and S-bombs and C-bombs at their family and friends. They believe it's culturalized. It's best not to do that when we're trying to find solutions for many reasons we won't go into. So Black Betterment is Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. That's what it is. It's a lifestyle. We promote the lifestyle of Black Betterment on this show, or broadcast, I should say. There you go. So today's fantastic topic. It's got 2 very important ones today. We've got raised by anti-Black racists. What does that mean? We discussed the real world aftermath of Black people being raised by anti-Black racists. So it's basically, there's certain scenarios where Black people and members of the Black community are raised by non-Black people. How that tends to happen is you might get, historically, you have the one Black parent, one white parent, they come together in miscegenation and they produce an offspring, and obviously then that's one connection, one way to do it. And then there's the other way where Black children are fostered or adopted more so, and then they're raised by a non-Black person. Sometimes challenges come from that, but the reason we're doing it is because we're going to spin off into some other connected kind of stuff, just by close proximity to non-Black people, especially those who might be practicing racism, and how that might affect the child. Sometimes it affects the child. They're sad and angry and not happy and best pleased, but sometimes they don't recognize the racism, especially if it's manipulation, and they end up doing a lot of the anti-black racist work themselves, and they don't necessarily know it. We shall look at some examples of that. So it's good to see that. And also, we're entering the error-prone zone. That's a nice one. Error-prone zone. Well, I'm going to design that. That's nice. Error-prone zone. Come on, let me write that down. Write down there. Error-prone zone. Very nice. Cool. So, yeah, we're going to enter the error-prone zone, and we're dealing with light skin versus dark skin. Not that it's a topic that we're doing. No, there's a brother called Nick Cannon, very successful comedian, I guess, musician, entertainment guy. He's been on a few times because he's got lots of children from many, usually either light-skinned black women or white women that he's chosen to have children with. And very knowledgeable brother, it seems. He does study a lot. I don't know how much he applies, but I know recently he might have said some things against Jewish people, and they had him apologize for that. And that we did cover that concept, as in like most people, because there's no consequences or collective kind of pushback on any kind of high level, like we observe in other people groups, then most people will be in the error prone zone for quite a long time, you see. So maybe we can sort that out. But we're talking about, we discussed the reasons not to uphold. Why is that there? There's no H. There should be a H in the shade. It's gonna bug me that the H disappeared. So that's not going to be shade. It's going to be shade. So let me while we do that, I'll see if I can update it. You know how it goes. It's always something with this software. Oh, cool. So let me. Oh, where are we? Oh gosh. So what we're gonna while I update this text, it's gonna bother me if I see it constantly. There's looking at me in my face. So we're gonna watch. What we're gonna do? We're gonna watch. Which one to do first? Let's watch this very saddish tale of a parent. Well, very sad to be honest. Of a where is this thing? Parent raising their this one. There you go. So let's have a sneak peek. Rewind that, please, friend. Tell your friend we're live. There's a good conversation. Feel free to jump in if you want to have your own kind of discussion and pause and have your pause here, Raven. I want to say something so you can give your opinion. Feel free to jump in. This is a community show. All are welcome. All black people, that is. If you're a non-black person, you're welcome to come and ask questions. We prefer it just be black people, but sometimes they can't resist. So feel free. There you go.
I was kind of raised, to be us against them. I know that if I see a group of white kids and I see a group of black kids, I'm going to be more on guard with the black kids because of the way that I was trained, the way I was raised. I'm just trying to, I guess, be really honest.
His name is Steve Ramey, a Washington father with a secret that few people would have the courage to say out loud.
I know it's a really harsh thing to say, and I don't want to say it, and I know that people are going to take it wrong, but I know that I'm racist, and I don't want to be. I don't mean to be. I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to, and that's kind of what we're doing here, is how do I not be, when it's been ingrained in me for my whole life. I'm 60 years old. So my daughter is mixed. And we never really had a conversation about how that affects her.
He's raised his daughter, Caitlin, since she was 5 years old.
I went to a mostly white school. I would get called names a lot. They'd call me like brownie or like racist names, or they call me like monkey, like a monkey. I didn't really know that I was racist. I'm confused with my identities.
An interracial family rocked by a racial justice uprising, searching for answers.
What I can do personally is give my daughter a voice. And at the same time, I'm going to hopefully learn what can I do to be more conscious about being racist.
Starting in February, Facing Race goes deeper with race educator and coach Karina Hooks.
We're just going to have real, honest conversations. What do you think's wrong with you?
Not good enough.
According to who?
To the white man.
To help a Washington family face race head on.
I do say racist stuff, and I don't mean, a lot of it's out of humor.
How does it make you feel?
Uncomfortable and angry.
But what if your jokes and your words harm?
Now I can't even laugh. I know I'm going to be challenged. I know I'm probably going to get angry.
I think there will be, at points in our journey, just some harsh but transformational moments.
I think it's going to be beneficial, though.
Was that? Oh, right, that was quick. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so we saw a European man. Who is that? Hold on, what's these pictures? They don't seem to see. Was she adopted? Was she adopted? I can't see any. There's no mention of a mother. Now, if she was adopted, that would be very interesting because that. Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. I assume she had. I assume she had one European parent, but she might actually be adopted. That actually makes the scenario that much devious. Okay. Yeah, so we'll see that the European man highlighting he practices racism. He finds it hard not to do it, and obviously he's this is one scenario of being raised by anti-black racists. I'm seeing if I can update my thing now. I should have done it. So yeah, this is one of the scenarios of it. Never good, never good, never good. We're gonna look at another one now. Feel free to jump in to add your 20 pence piece. Which one? What's the next one? Well, listen to a bit of this. It's probably like 5 minutes. Listen to a bit of this. So this is a small. So I haven't heard this one. I don't know where it's going to go, but we'll listen. I'm sure something will be said.
I'm Kelly Bethay. I have 2 mixed-race children, half Irish and half black.
My name is Kathy Weiss, and I have a 34-year-old daughter and a 27-year-old son, Jeremy, who is adopted.
My name is Shelley Paterick, and I'm the mother of 2 sons. They're my biological children.
My name is Frank Coyetti, and I have 2 children, a 6.5-year-old daughter named Lucy and a 3.5-year-old adopted son named Joseph.
My husband and I started dating when we were in our 30s. And we never really thought about the fact that we were a mixed-race couple until we decided to have children. My kids were going to face situations that I just didn't know how to navigate because I had never faced them myself. I remember just sobbing and my husband taking me in his arms and telling me that it's not my job to teach my son to be a black man, that it's his job.
His job and his black wife, potentially.
It's my job to teach my kids respect and kindness, just like every other mother in the world, regardless of what color my skin is.
We tried to have another child. There were issues with me that was not going to enable us to have another biological child. Social workers actually came out with a policy against transracial adoptions. There was
See, that might be an idea there. Policy to stop. Now, this is very controversial, very shocking thing, but they tried to stop that. That might actually be. Let's see why.
a strong belief that white families couldn't provide what black children needed for their own identity. We did not live the black experience in America, and how do we provide him some connection to what the world sees him as, even if his personal experience is slightly different than that?
We wanted to adopt for many reasons. My wife was very much compelled. She has an adopted brother, and then she worked at a nonprofit that worked with a lot of former foster youth. Talked about trying to have a biological child first, and then the next thing we were interested in doing is adopting. I was talking to a woman I met at a theater opening. She's African American. The subject of my kids came up because I love talking about them. She asked point blank, which is a really good question, are you going to allow some influence in his life from other African American people? I was kind of stumped for a second, and then realized I absolutely have to.
I was only about 20 when I had Jason. I don't know if it was my immaturity, but I didn't really look at my kids as black or white or half. I just looked at them as my children. When I was going through my divorce, I was seeing a therapist at the time. She pointed out how important it was for the children to have regular time with their father and his side of the family so that they could learn the nonverbal communication skills of the black culture. So that was something I was always mindful of and made sure that that happened.
Consultation is just an admission that you don't know everything. It doesn't make me feel weird at all. It makes me a little sad to think that he's going to have some experiences that I can't entirely relate to.
My daughter's hair was definitely a learning experience. I have a niece who also has a mixed race daughter. She actually has given me so much information, YouTube tutorials, Pinterest, learning what co-washing is.
We'll leave it there for a minute. So that's we welcome Brother Musa to the Black Bear broadcast. Black Bear and Brother Musa. We'll let him find his mic.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. How's it going, brother? Welcome to Black Betterment to yourself. Black Betterment.
Is it Black Betterment? Black? Can you hear an echo, or is it smooth?
No, it's better now. It's better now. Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, man. So, go on.
Yeah, no. So we're just looking at some stuff. Big up Empress Kushti as well, Black Betterment family. So we just looked at. We're going to see half this video. Won't watch it. I haven't seen it before. I was just looking at what it was, downloaded it. But there's a gentleman in England, and I suspect he was raised by a European family or maybe friends. And it was Brother Kel pushed me onto him and just said if we can cover it. So this is in the UK. This is like some of the behavior patterns that could happen when you're raised by a non-black family.
In England and Croatia, and of course we're here because Danny Roscoe has got a campaign, Get Off Your Knees and Stand Up to Racism. Obviously the England players are getting down on one knee and using that virtue signaling to tackle racism. Getting down your knees does absolutely nothing to tackle any racism that we may have in the UK. So we're here to be with Danny and to stand up against racism together.
But it's interesting what they're doing there now. So there's a brother that I assume he has one white parent, and he's going to. I think he wants them to stand up. So as you know, in the football World Cup and these kind of things, they were doing similar to what they did in American football. At least what Kaepernick did, where he went on a knee to represent racism, mistreatment. I think his brother's telling him to stand up for racism. I don't know. See, this is the thing, and this we understand when it comes. Remember, so things are not that we understand there was definitely challenges with Black Lives Matter as certain behind the scenes practices and stuff. However, the concept of the wording Black Lives Matter, when it came out, the anti-black racists will then do All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. You notice this never happened with the Stop Asian Hate. So this is, remember, we have to connect the dots and see what it is. So once again, the black people going on their knees. If someone's telling them to stand up, this is once again could be trickery. It's a confusion. You know, you're going on your knees to stop racism, but we're telling you if you stand back up, it does more for it. So it's very, very interesting. But I'm just saying this for the first time, just telling you as I hear it because this is new. I don't really know much about this brother. Brother Kel knows more about this individual, but he's put me onto him, so I'm going to see what he's about. Skip it. Let's see all this intro stuff. Is this him?
Everyone like these people up there are claiming that everyone like me is racist.
Right, so he's wearing a t-shirt called Black and White Unite. So already, yeah, you understand what he might be into.
Okay, yeah, we're here protesting against it to say, do you know what? Let's kick it out, please. There's an anti-racism campaign in right. Why are you allowing this to happen? You backed that for the last 10 years, and now it's all this Marxist stuff. So it's not about anti-racism. It's about Marxism, and the more people understand that, the better it's going to be. I don't care.
Last thing, do you think that people in this country understand that BLM is a Marxist organisation?
No, they don't, because they're forced. If you see a man's colour, that's what you go with. You don't go with what they're saying. A black person, I can go down and I can say whatever I like, and they won't say I'm a racist. I can go and say anything I like to black people, and they won't say that's racist.
No, we won't call you racist, but you might be error-prone and unsynchronized. And this is one of the strategies that you see where you have a black, as we know, it's historical, but having a black face kind of be a talking point from many anti-black concepts.
Johnson's the one who said that. She called Lou Reed a coon, and it was acceptable. Nobody said, Sasha, you're wrong for being racist. But yeah. I'm here saying that's not right either. We've got to stand under all lives. We've got to have the same principles, the same positivity, and everything's the same. We're all English.
So essentially, we're all English. That's one to watch as well. The politician brother was he was on the radio a few weeks back, a months back, arguing that he wants to be seen as English, not British. As far as I'm aware, English is an ethnic group. It's an ethnic group of the Anglos, the actual European ethnic group. Just like Yoruba, Igbo is Nigerian, or what we call Nigerian, an ethnic group. So when people say English, especially black people, and you tend to find they're married to the daughters of white men. I don't know if that contributes to it. I don't know, being raised by white people or trying to marry the daughters of white men might make people want to be. That's nothing. No one really connects that dot that there's a ethnically non-white person trying to be a ethnic white person, as in that definition. But yeah, very interesting. Let's carry on listening. Big up, brother Dominic, very important contributor to the Black Band broadcast. Let's carry on listening. You can't really judge a book by its cover. Historically, we would see this kind of behavior like outside football stuff. They used to call them hooligans. Well, not that these guys are probably not hooligans. Just saying that the whole aura, and this is what the brother is hanging around with. And we see this in all countries that has different groups, like a black person leading, a part of some kind of very different non-black collective group that has a flavoring of some kind of like anti-black nationalism or something like that. I don't know, but not necessarily they're saying, but I could be wrong. At least the persona.
Danny, you picked a good day for your demo.
Look at that, it's glorious today, it's glorious.
Why do you think, obviously you're here, tell us why you're about getting off your knees and standing up to racism. So tell us about that before we kind of talk about the match and things.
Well, basically what it is, with all this taking a knee business, I don't think that's an acceptable way or an effective way to tackle racism. So I started out the campaign of you can't tackle racism on your knees because, footballers seem to think this is the only way that you can do it. So with that, if there is racism in football, let's not get it wrong. There is, and we need to tackle it. It's not acceptable. But
it's interesting when people try to tear down other methods of stopping something. Do they ever present a different way? If they don't, then that might be controlled opposition.
Taking a knee for what's essentially a Marxist ideology is not.
It's known as drive-by criticism.
Acceptable either. So if they just go back and bring the Kick It Out campaign back, which was the biggest campaign that they had for anti-racism, then we wouldn't be here now. We would be at home watching football. But we can't watch the England team subjugate themselves to an American Marxist ideology.
Obviously, you've got Croatia today, you've got Poland the last game. Both of them have not got down on their knees. Scotland were not, and now they will. But why do you think other countries kind of get it, where we seem to be enthralled to this Marxist agenda?
Because if you look at the people who are not taking a knee, they're the people that have been oppressed by communism, okay? They're the people that have gone through great wars, they've gone through great poverty. So they know where the slippery slope of Marxism goes, and then it goes down all the way down to, it's communism. That's how it goes. They've lived that. So they're not going to say, hang on a minute, for my ancestors and for my people, I'm going to take a knee, which oppress my whole country. No, I'm not going to do it. We stand up, and they refuse to do it, and I respect them for doing that because they know where it is. But in England, we've had the privilege of not being in a war, not having poverty, extreme poverty, not having extreme inflation or anything like that.
Okay, so today we're tackling raised by anti-black racists. We discussed the real-world aftermath of black people being raised by anti-black racists. We'll give you some examples across the pond and here. The personality. So we can see two types usually. If you're raised by a non-black person or anti-black racist, what could happen is you could be traumatized, as we tried to show some examples, or you could be heavily influenced into fighting for agendas for other people, or being the spokesface, the front face,
spokesperson.
Yeah, spokesperson for certain other people's agendas. Just sometimes what they do, they try to rebrand things as something else, so it doesn't seem as anti-black as possible. Once again, I'm not here to defend Black Lives Matter, but it seems to be a very interesting thing that this brother is trying to tear down, whatever it is. But we might come back to this, brother. Obviously, we're open to power people to talk about this stuff. We're gonna move on to a very the second topic now, and that is light skin versus dark skin. Tell your friends we're tackling the light skin versus dark skin topic. We're tackling it more so from a standpoint that a brother called Nick Cannon, I think he had a show, and maybe let me play what I think they do a better job of explaining it. So let's have someone else explain it. Hold on. This lady, she might do it.
Goes
You know what?
Let's talk about it, baby. Let's talk about it. It's almost 2024 and my still can't be for real. The Zeus Network goes viral for promoting a light skin versus dark skin competition. But then after receiving backlash, tries to recreate the flyer by saying chocolate goddesses versus caramel goddesses. But to be for real, I'm not even surprised. But that's just surface level. Let me tell you how up it really is. Not only did you promote dark skins versus light skins, the dark skinned women came from the show Baddies. You know, the show where they fight for no reason. And the light skinned women came from the show Wildin' Out. You know, the girls that just stand there and look cute and pretty. Y'all had one go here and y'all knew exactly what the y'all were doing. So if you still think that colorism is not a real thing and that there are not hidden agendas in media, then you are blind. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm good that they've blipped out all the language.
Zeus. How much dumb can y'all be? Another episode of Bad versus Wild coming out. And the biggest debate in Black history, dark skin versus light skin. Where is the PR team? Who came up with this?
All aboard the motherfucking Bullshit Express. Dark skin versus
The white. Sorry about swearing, family.
versus light skin. You mean to tell me that this is the best y'all could come up with? Listen, I know that people are like, Zeus pushes negative black stereotypes and blah, blah.
Do you know who owns Zeus? I'm not too sure if it's a network. It'd be good for someone to do the research. Who owns Zeus? I think they've got some other shows that might be problematic. But once again, it's sending instruction.
Blah, and all of that is true, but I was still willing to watch some of this shit. This under no circumstance will be getting any of my fucking attention.
Sorry, this one we'll skip past this one. There we go. Let's listen to this.
No. Natalie does not always get her just dues for me, but we cannot put this all on her. This is all Nick Cannon right now. And then someone gonna say something, it's fake. You think Nick Cannon would actually be associated with this dumb stuff? Oh, baby, let's roll the tape.
And it's that type of energy, but it's with the talent that you love to see on Zeus. So, and it's really, that's why we put verses right in the middle. It's we talking about everything that could collide. We gonna see. We going natural versus BBL. We going light, dark skin. We going East Coast versus West Coast.
So you heard that, right? This was
the light skin, dark skin, East Coast and West Coast. These are very destructive historical things. I don't know. See, this is the thing. When the brother steps out of line with non-black communities, he's put in check. But I don't know if he's been put in check here. This is why we need some kind of counseling, some kind of counsel, some kind of elder guidance, just to steer some of these brothers away. But then I don't know who owns the channel and how much he's getting paid. But yeah, this is not really a good look.
Something that was about to be in different areas. Natural versus BBL, light skin versus dark skin, East Coast versus West Coast. People died over that. Now, I will say this is a double-edged sword. I don't know what this bad versus wild is, but as a network such as Zeus Network, if we're already promoting and glorifying the destruction of black entertainment and the youth, you think it's just going to stop at the fight? You think it's going to stop at the desirability of a fast-paced lifestyle? You think it's going to stop at the root of all evil for the love of money? No, because they've been able for so long to get away with so many things. Yes, they feel like they can push the norms under the rim of.
Got once again, a great contribution from Sister Christy. Let's read it. It's a black man that owns Zeus. He was originally a Christian channel. He got no views, so started commission ratchet shows, sell out. Oh, wow, yeah. So, interesting. I mean, was it a Christian show when he was running it, or did he take over a Christian show? We might have to cover him next week if that's the case. This is very interesting.
Reality TV because they gotten away with so many things. If a girl can get jumped after having a miscarriage allegedly and that's aired, then all bets are off.
All right, let's put it there. Yeah, go follow that sister. This is her page where it's from. Yeah. Oh, there's actually one video I didn't play, but we'll might play at the time enough. And we'll play 1 minute of this, but you might swear. Look at that. Sorry.
Oh, now they're trying to switch it up. So this flyer went viral all over social media where they're trying to have. When I seen the flyer, I'm like, what year is this? 2010. If you guys remember back in like the early, 2010s of the internet, they would have all these light skin, dark skin parties, like flyers and stuff. They'd be like, oh, there's a light skin versus dark skin party in Charlotte. Light skin versus dark skin party in Atlanta.
Arab prom, baby.
And so these flyers would go viral and they'd be all these little think pieces on social media about them. So, but we haven't seen this because I thought, yes, there's still colorism, trust me. But I thought we've moved beyond the whole light skin versus dark skin thing, right? Oh no, not on social media. Dusty Nick Cannon and Zeus Network, they decide to throw a light skin versus dark skin party. So let me share my tab. And they are currently getting drug all over social media here. So, oh, me and my baby. I still can't believe he's 18 now. All right. So this was the flyer. And it says bad versus wild, dark skin versus light skin. And you see all the chicks here. And some of the light skin girls, they've made them look even lighter. I think that Stunner Girl. And Stunner Girl is light skin, but she's not that pale. Then you have all the dark skinned chicks over here. And
so Channel Zeus, he started it. This is from Empress Kushti. Started originally Christian channel and made the choice to turn it into a ratchet channel. Shows like Batty. I've heard of these shows, never actually seen them. I've probably seen clips flying around here and there. Yeah, so this is error prone. Like, error prone will sell, and obviously, it's how far you can push the error prone. So if they're having West Coast versus East Coast, this is a gang thing. If they've got light skin versus dark skin, this is a colorism thing. I don't know. It's I think a few weeks ago we were talking about really drawing the line and really seeing what side you stand on. And I think if this really is Nick Cannon's thing, I haven't seen the show. I suspect there is no twist in the show, but he might be just have to be kind of out on that one. Like it's not a good look, and any credibility he might. I mean, it's interesting though. I've always said this, like, whenever sometimes you have black men, black women who get in the mainstream, and they might have some kind of knowledge, or some kind of information that most mainstream people don't have, and sometimes people label them conscious, or some of them would. But I think, and maybe this happens in the UK as well. We recently were talking about it last week. But I think you really have to stand on your square. You really have to say, here's what I'm about. And with us, it's black economics, black love, black families, and black health, of course, right? And I think that needs to be the starting pillars, really, because if you don't really have all those things, then you're going to be promoting certain ideas that's very destructive. And I get it, clickbait, get people there, but it's just not a good look. Like, our communities won't necessarily accept that. They won't accept the Palestine versus Israel one, would they? Anything like this. So I just don't think it's necessary. Nick Cannon don't care for black people. Most of all his baby mamas are non-black. Very true. Nick Cannon has multiple wives, girlfriends, or impregnated ladies. They're either extremely light skinned or they're European, maybe one or two, I can't remember. We are actually talking about light skin, dark skin topics as well as being raised by non-black people.
Well, you know what, Raven, as a people, we don't promote black love, then what do you expect?
Very true. This is why I'm pushing forward that as a fundamental, it becomes something that is part of the liberation package or the pro-black package or the I was watching a show the other day, and he says he's going to air it on maybe December, so we're in December now, right? Yeah, maybe late December or so. I'll have to keep checking back to see if he's done it. But good brother. But he was asking me some questions, and he asked a question. He said, I think I responded by saying I'm pro-black, and then he asked, "Are you pro-black or pro-truth?" And I had some kind of response to it, but what I should have done is said, where did you hear that terminology from? I suspect that terminology will have come from a black man who's married to a daughter of a white man, and the reason that is because it's this concept of like trying to. It's similar to what happened in that video where.
It's similar to what happened in that video where.
Oh, it's gonna mute you, brother. Can you go?
It's gonna mute you, brother. Can you go echo?
Let me speak there or mute. Yeah, it's similar to what happened where the brothers, they're getting on their knee to talk about racism is tend to stand up for racism, right? So it's like trying to kind of undermine certain things. So if we say we're pro-black, and they say, "Well, are you pro-black or pro-truth?" So what I tend to find is if you say you're pro-black, some people will say something like, "Well, not all skin folk is kinfolk," and they also say things like, "One day a black man beat me up and a white man saved me," this kind of stuff, right? So I think there's a way to talk to try to get past that, and I say the way to talk is, well, no, pro-black to me means acknowledging that we're collectively inadequate and working with other constructive brothers who are inadequate to fix black people collectively. That way, all the other stuff can be ignored. So if they say, yeah, but not all skin folk is kin folk, you go, that's right. Many black people have been corrupted. So we're going to work with a smaller number to actually create their environment so that we can give education for them not to be destructive anymore. Because what's happening is there's always going to be an excuse for you to network with non-black people, give them your economics as well as marry the daughters of white men. And no matter what happens, that will always be the outcome. It will always be the outcome. And this brother was a good brother, and I support his show because he's up and coming. But he that was something that stood out for me when he said that. Are you pro-black or pro-truth? And I probably said like, well, both, innit? And pro-black is truth, right? And then I would have broken down something. But what I should have said is, where did you get that terminology from? And then I go, is that person you got it from? Were they trying to marry a European woman? You see? So that's what we want to be doing now. We got to recognize there's so many different groups coming out and ideologies, finding out the heart of who starts new term, right? And then go, yes, I see why that term came out. So this black man can have access to a non-black, the daughter of white men, right? So today's topics are raised by anti-black racists. We discussed the real-world aftermath of black people being raised by anti-black racists. Light skin versus dark skin. We discussed the reasons not to uphold shade-based rivalry on social media. Brother Nick Cannon has pushing a show, pushing a show called Light Skin. Well, not called. It's called Bad versus Wild, and one segment is light skin versus dark skin. Very error-prone behavior. Very error-prone. The brother has done a considerable amount of error pro. He's a very talented brother, but we have to, But once again, when you're in the mainstream, and once again, we're not there to see the pressures that people go through or the checks they get, but we don't seem to have that kind of collective power to say, brothers or sisters, this is not the way. But if we did, this is not the way. We're joined today by Brother Musa and Brother Kel. So welcome, Black Betterment, to both.
Black Betterment.
There you go. Feel free to jump in on the topic. There was one other video I had. It was more so connected to. I haven't really seen it, but it was more so. It was this. So this is a rap song that a European man made. He's married to a sister, and he's got a few kids, to be honest. And I think he's got a page. There are many pages in my algorithm now of people promoting miscegenation, biracial unions, and this kind of stuff. And this is one of them, but this guy might be some kind of musician. Very modern rap sound.
Trying to give some high definition to reality, family, acrobatically juggling lies, smothered in crash to avoid eternal casualty trust.
Method acting, some would say.
It ain't easy, but teamwork make the dream work. It's me, Ella, Hesse, Hosanna, Harper, and Hallie. And I ain't forget I had to rage and the family.
What's good, Grimway gang? Welcome back to the Grimway family channel. And if you're new around here, then welcome. Guys, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Give them a big happy Father's Day. Yay! Well done to all of you guys doing a great job. Now guys, we are going to raise a topic today, being that it's Father's Day, that might be a little socially awkward. Sorry, we've got Rue over here asking to come out of his play cot like over and over again. However, he has been a little so he needs to stay there for a minute. But guys, the topic is, can I, as a white father, be an accurate role model for my mixed race, biracial, dual heritage children? And the reason I said all those aliases is because we're not too precious. We're not too precious about,
the terminology used, maybe. But of course,
some people out there do get a bit touchy about what word you use, so we don't want to offend anybody, so we're just letting you know kind of how we feel, and hopefully it'll be acceptable to you guys.
Absolutely. So guys, we're going to get everyone involved. So basically I am asking the question of, you know, I know kind of what I think, but I'm going to open it up and I'm going to see, guys, what you think. Can Daddy represent you guys? Like, when you look at Daddy, do you feel represented, or do you feel like, oh man, but I don't look like Daddy? Or
do you feel like you can relate to Daddy because he's white and you're obviously not white? Is that kind of, do you know what I mean? What you're
not fully
asking?
White.
No, you're not fully white. You're half white, half black. But hands up, Hosanna, go ahead.
I feel like half represented because Mummy's the half of it and Daddy's the half of it, so I won't feel fully represented because it's just a white person.
Okay, go on, sweetheart. Yes,
Hezzy can go.
No, you go.
Okay.
ladies.
I think it's fun because Daddy's like, Mummy's black like Hosanna said, and Daddy's white. So it's like fine if we're just mixed race and then Daddy's just white.
So you're saying, sorry to interject, but so you're saying because Mummy is black and Daddy is white, then you have both representations and you feel represented because you have both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go on,
That's fair. Hez?
I think because we were like made from both of you, like obviously Mummy did all the pushing out and stuff.
Did all the
but
hard
like
work.
but we're made from both of you. Like I think I've got a bit of white, a bit of black because like there's gonna be some stuff on me that's like looks like Daddy, like my nose or anything like that, and there will be some stuff that looks like Mummy. So that's what I think.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Go
on, Beth.
Sorry, I was stumbling it. I was gonna try and maybe pose a slightly, not different question, it's all obviously related, but for example, the other day I was in a particular area and I went into a shop and I noticed I was the only black person in that store.
And would you usually feel like that?
No, not usually. I wouldn't usually
So you
think,
kind of...
Yeah, it was
particularly weird.
Yeah, it was particularly strange. Also because I felt a little bit of a vibe, but nothing terrible after I spoke to someone that's absolutely fine. But because I don't genuinely experience, as far as I'm aware, racism that much. Not in my day-to-day living anyway. But yes, I was in a different area to where I live, and I was like, right, I'm the only black person here. So I would assume then, obviously, if you went to a place where there's lots of white people, babe, and you went with one of the kids or all the kids or what have you, your feeling there would be different to how the kids might feel. So yeah, how could you then, you know, make the children feel at ease, or are you able to do that kind of thing?
Well, before you ask me that, I would ask the children. Hezzy's hand's obviously gone up, but have you ever felt, any of you, like, have you felt like Mummy did the other day? Have you ever felt like someone is looking at you because you are not fully white? Have you ever felt that? You might not have. You gone, Hez, sorry.
No, like I'm always around like different races because I'm in football and like in a team there's not just one race. So I'm quite used to that. So even if I wasn't, I'm still just fine with just anyone. I can get to know them, have a friendship and all of that stuff, so I'm just used to that.
Right.
Because the thing is, obviously, we bring you guys up to not really see colour in that sense, like same way that we were brought up, really, I would say.
Very important word there, not to see colour. That's the European kind of marketing. It's not a good one to pretend you don't see colour. I think what we should push now, rather than that narrative of don't see colour, is to see colour, and for those who see colour to not mistreat black people, and for black people to practice black raiment, as in see the colour, see the black person, and try to establish a plan that will boost black economics, black health, and black families. Obviously, one of those cannot be done in this particular case. So, but the other two potentially could do.
That a person is a person, so therefore, if you're in a team like you are here with other.
Another thing to realize that when it comes to race-based relationship and race topics, if you think about it, it's always talking about being mistreated, and it's usually 99.99% Europeans mistreating black people, right? Or Irish, or who you name it, you change your name, right? But I think the topic of racism should be more about have black people recovered from racism and what could be done collectively amongst black people to fix the legacy of racism. That might be a better way to word it, and that way you push black people more towards, economic empowerment, collaboration, each one teach one philosophies, rather than trying to train black people how to cope with being mistreated by non-black people. That might be an idea. Let's read some of the stuff. Dominic, the dad made it clear his babies are half white. She's going side by side with him to. Oh, it's a different thing. This might be. I think there's a conversation going on the thing, so it's not really to do with the thing. Fair enough. Carry on.
People from different places in the world, different nationalities. You shouldn't feel a way about that because you're all there as part of the team. All your individual personalities. Just get along, get to know people for who they are. So I totally understand what you're saying there.
And just to add on to that, I remember when I was brought up, I remember specifically my mum saying to me, we don't see colour, we see people. Do you know what I mean? And that just stuck with me forever. But Hosanna, you had something to say. Go on, babe.
I don't ever really feel like, somebody's looking at me because I'm black and half white.
So you've never felt like that? Okay, cool. Go on, Hallie.
I've never felt like that because I have saw a lot of like black mums. Have seen a lot of black mums in our cheerleading, and quite a few black girls in our cheerleading. Like who does it?
So you don't realise any weirdness from that
because you got some black girls around you and some.
It's interesting because she's always 2 steps ahead. When people say, "Oh, I don't see color," but then they name a color-based identity, mixed black, white. I am white. They start, I am white, I'm black. I don't see color, and this could be a form of either back of the mind or front of the mind deception, because it's. I think we're still in the legacy of the white-black dynamic historically, right? And we gave examples of this, for example. So, for example, if we use back in Nazi Germany, you had the Jewish, what they call the Jewish community, and then you had the Nazi community, right? And because the Nazi community lost the war, the term Nazi now is seen as a bad thing, right? So if someone says Nazi, you see bad, and it represents all the bad things the Nazis did to the Jews that was reported. But when we say black and white, because the war was never won by black people, white is still around as a concept, as an idea. So that's why you can casually say, I don't see white, but then be white, and even behave how whiteness actually is, and still benefit from all the things that has happened because of it. But yet you can put it in the background in conversation, but in reality, you will see white, and it has implications on your life. Once again, no one's ever talking about economics, the collective condition of black people, reparations, these kinds of things. More so, race talk is about, do you feel a way about being mistreated by white people? And do you feel that I can represent you and help you deal with the mistreatment that white people give you? That's usually the topic we see.
But in truth, Brother Raven, in truth, the word mixed race and no, don't see colour is deceptive, and we can't trust that, because I've had this debate with many of our people and that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, can we class, you know, the biracial Africans as black, etc. and that? Yes. But we know that they're genetically dominant, you see, because when you're dealing with a dark-skinned black person with a light-skinned black person, sometimes the child's going to come out light-skinned or dark-skinned because we're both genetically dominant, you see. But when Garvey was dealing with the biracials in his time, right, what he found out that during the before the UNIA, with W.E. Du Bois, is that he found out that because of that term, mixed race and brown paper bag, that it lent towards the white supremacists of looking down on those who are not of that particular group. So he made it perfectly clear that anybody who identifies with mixed race or all these names is very deceptive to black people, because we don't know which side you're on.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And that, so they should identify with either one or the other, but not mixed race, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. So this we can expand that by saying this: Black betterment, by its very nature, is a one-sided concept. It's recognizing that Black people are collectively inadequate, collectively have no friends, and we are working together to better that. Now, the reason I personally, when I'm speaking in public, I understand there's all modern terms and new strategies, and people have new definitions and historical terms. And I say more like, are you within the Black community or not within the Black community? Okay, that's what it is. You're either within the Black or you're not. If you're not, then we don't need to speak. But if you are, this is the strategy that we're doing. This is how we work together. And while you're within it, whether you have a great granddad who was European or Arab or Chinese, or a mother who's this, that, the third, all your efforts within the practice of Black betterment is towards fixing Black issues. We will not take any pit stop to work on any other group. If you do that, that has nothing to do with the lifestyle, and that's for you to do elsewhere that we documented, and somewhere else is going to have to do with it. Making it very clear that the definitions we're using is for reasons of activities. Yeah,
that's right.
Activities that are dedicated to pushing Black people collectively forward. So that's why sometimes all this like, I'm half white, I'm half Black, my granddad's Black, I'm great. Say what you want, okay? If that makes you feel, but and I think that comes down to us now, how we brand things, how we do things, where it's like those things that people are using either as an identity or as a come up or who knows, it's not gonna, it's gonna work against you, because like I said, you see around the world where it's like people are wondering how much can we trust you if every 7 seconds you're using terms that bring in other people groups and empower other people groups. You see. So it's a very important question, but by all means, family, you have your own opinions. Feel free to jump in. People out there, let us know what you feel. It's very interesting because historically, we have a. Let's see if I set that task. There we go. So historically, remember we broke it down regions. So in the red region, so let me see, where is that red region? Fair. I don't write it somewhere. There we go. So in the see here. Oh, the map's not even changing. Let me go back. There you go. So in the red region, you see, so we region things just so we can talk about history easier. Everyone's Black, but they're from different regions that handle Blackness a bit slightly different here and there. So the red region, these are Afro descendants who were kidnapped from the motherland of Africa and brought into North America. Now, at that time, the reason why the daughters of the European man, where's the pictures? Where are you? Were seen as Black is because, one, it was that's how they were delegated, but also the treatment was similar, and they couldn't gain any powers, they couldn't gain any status really, at least on the level of the Europeans, and they were put back within the Black collective group, and then different Black shades, Negroes, mulattoes, Negroes, Octo, all these kind of people were mixed in, and then you just have a historical Black people today, right? Today in the UK or other places, it's very different. So in those days, a so-called mulatto child would never claim their parent because their parent was, unfortunately, the great word, as well as a open enslaver and an open enemy to her lineage. That's how they would have seen it. But today, that it's not sticking that way, and people use that. And I would say, have your views, but when you talk about your allies, always ask your allies, what's your views on reparations for Black people? I've yet to see more than one person or two say pay reparations to Black people. And then when you actually, if the one or two that says yay, when you define what reparations is, they'll say books or something like this, right? So, you always have to, so these are the ways I would deal with it. These are the ways I would deal with it, as in, understand how history works and all that good stuff. But we're segueing into, I think there was a gentleman we played before you came.
No.
His brother here. I'm not too sure his lineage or his parenting or the area he was born in.
Is that who I think it is, Brother Raven?
It is. That is him.
Right. I wanted to talk about this fellow as well. I'm glad you put this up actually on that, man. Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll just give one minute speech that he made, and then you can just let us know about him. So what stood out about the brother here is he's wearing a T-shirt that says "Black and White Unite." So very interesting T-shirt. So let's see what he says.
That everyone like me is racist, okay? Yeah, we're here protesting against it to say, do you know what? Let's kick it out, please. There's an anti-racism campaign in right. Why are you allowing this to happen? We backed that for the last 10 years, and now it's all this Marxist stuff. So it's not about anti-racism. It's about Marxism, and the more people understand that, the better it's going to be. I don't care.
Last thing.
So back context, people were taking a knee in a football match and he wasn't best pleased. He thinks it's a Marxist concept. So he's saying stand for racism and use some old prototype of racism stuff, not the stand for the knee stuff or sit for the knee stuff. And so he's there. Don't know much about him, but Brother Kel might have more runners with him. I understand his history more than I do. But we're looking at it because the assumption would be at some point this brother might have been raised around non-black people, and there's a suspect that maybe some of them might have had anti-black ideologies or maybe lured him in a way that might not be in black people's collective best interests. So that's what we know. You want to jump in, Brother Kel, or should I?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because you see, brother, this is very scary for us as synchronized African descendant trying to, because he's anti Black Lives Matter. That's very problematic. You see what I'm saying? And like the things that he says about if African descendants were to come over here, right, how they should be treated, and he fails to realize is that if there's a treaty and a coalition with the Africans who are coming into the UK, into the neighbors of the other African diaspora, and that you're going to need them to combat racism anyway. You see, and the rhetoric, what he was like, he was on a show with there's a lady from Speaker's Corner, Jupiter. She done like a host with him and the Muslim Jordan M. The things what he was saying, man, it's like I couldn't believe it. Like, your skin's genetically dominant, but then again, it goes back to that that technique that you was talking about, the 3 A's, isn't it? Aesthetic, ancestry, and action. If you go into that again, man, like for the audience, that'll be a
let's
virtue.
bring that down. So so what it is sometimes you have people, obviously brothers and sisters of African descent, black people. Sometimes you might be trying to do some kind of work, and then they might try to use their darker skin tone or lighter skin tone as a kind of flex to either stop you from practicing black betterment or Pan-Africanism, any kind of unity, and they try to use their blackness. A good example was there's a kickboxer or something from New Zealand, and a European was using the N-word a lot somewhere. And he tried to say, well, everyone, I'm a black guy, and I give him permission to use the N-word, right? So what we're saying is we can have something that's known as beneficial blackness, right? And we can say, okay, if your aesthetics is black and we see you as black and you whatever that is, black, we can give you a maximum of 10 points. 10 points. You got 10 points for your blackness, right? If your ancestors are all black and they're black, you can have a maximum of 10 points. So you have 20 points off the bat. So for your ancestors, full 10 points, and for your aesthetics, full 10 points. Beautiful blackness, right? However, the third A is action, and that's worth 80 points. You see? That's worth 80 points. And that's where you can't just walk around being black and thinking that means anything in the sense of your work is done, I can overrule people, right? So that's where you can have a person who might be extremely light or from this continent or that continent or has this ancestry, and maybe you might trump that person in aesthetics and ancestry, and you just might, and we give you full 20 points. However, if that brother or sister is helping, constructive, promoting black economics, black health, and black families, then they're going to get quite a lot of that 80 points, quite a lot, maybe all of it if they do really well, right? So your 20 points versus their 80 points, well, and they'll probably have a bit more because they'll have points because they actually are aesthetically black in some way, as well as have an ancestry that's black as well. But but sometimes people try to use skin tone, either light or dark, to undermine others and to stop black progression. Like I said, for me, I've seen it being used to stop people from trying to be constructive. Just like I've also seen access to Europeans. Usually it gets triggered when people want to access Europeans in some way through marriage. They start doing that. Oh, well, who's more black and who's this? And you've got this ancestry as well. Why can't we have it? You know, this kind of stuff, right? Very, very unsynchronized, very error prone. But yeah.
I mean, to be
Brother
honest
Kel?
with you, brother. Yes, brother Musa. How you doing, brother?
Big up, brother Kel, and big up, brother Raven.
Big up, brother.
Yes.
I must say, yeah, brilliant topic. Very, very, very good topic. Now, I've come to realize that I think ideology plays such a big role in all of this.
Yes.
The reason why I'm saying is that we're a group of people that have been affected ideologically. Let's say for arguably the last 1,000, 2,000 years. I know that Brother Raven describes it as, what do you call it, high anxiety topics, high anxiety subjects.
Yes.
But no one has been affected in the last 1,000 or 2,000 years like black folk have. And it changed the way we looked at ourselves and the way we looked at the world. Islam, 1,400 years. Christianity, the last 500 years. Minus Ethiopia. Most black people don't come from Ethiopia. And Ethiopia was never colonized. So we can't use Ethiopians. But most people underwent transatlantic or slavery or colonization. It changed us.
Yes.
When you argue these points to say colonial ideas versus indigenous ideas, I remember I said a couple of weeks ago about indigenous religions, Yoruba, Ashanti, Zulu. You find that a lot of black people want the colonial ideas to remain. They say, no, well, that was in the past. I'm a Muslim today. That was in the past. I'm a Christian today. So when you have this reinforcing of colonial ideas to adopt as a better lifestyle, mind you, we haven't recovered from the past, you know, because these new ideas have affected us deeply.
Yes.
If I now want to go back to an ancestral system, it's going to cause problem with somebody who wants to believe in Christianity and Islam. For the mere fact that the religion that they've now adopted, they need to practice it harder than those that gave it to them, the Arab and the Christian and the European. They need to practice it harder in order to prove themselves. Does that make sense?
I hear that.
When you join something that's not yours, you have to now prove yourself to the people that you've now joined. The Arabs, you have to prove yourself that you're Muslim enough. To the Christians, the Europeans, you have to prove yourself that you're Christian enough because they gave you the faith. So you have to prove yourself. There's a lot of this thing going on. The need to distance themselves away from ancestral things.
Yeah.
So then how do you effectively have a good relationship?
Well,
when you're constantly dealing with people who are trying to play the game.
Of course. Let's unpack it more. So what you have to understand is you're correct, but it's a bit more broad in the sense of black people have been taught to hate anything that is perceived as black or from black, right?
Powerful.
So yes, any religions or spiritual systems that began either in Africa or were shaped in Africa, they won't let you know, or they'll demonize it, right? Any kind of cultural norm, any kind of so for example, if you use African America as a example, right? In America, they made jazz, they made blues, they made all these kind of very wonderful
That's right.
music. They banned Europeans from doing it. It was seen as a horrible thing, right? The Europeans didn't want to do it. It was seen as taboo not to do it. It took Europeans from UK to copy, to rebel against their parents, to copy what was happening in the South, to then go back to America, and then the Americans seeing the Europeans here doing it, then allow them to enjoy it. And that's why today they did things like, okay, well, we don't like it, but if we colonize it, if we make it our own, i.e. the Rock and Roll magazine we covered the other day, where he's made a Rock and Roll magazine and he doesn't want any black people in this Rock and Roll magazine. So what they do is, and this is the same with Europe, this is the same with Christianity as well as Islam. wherever these places, wherever these religions began, we know it wasn't in Europe. Yet, when we see the pamphlets and the booklets and the films, they're all European. You see, so they Europeanize everything, and that's why we say,
well said.
Africanize everything, right? Africanize everything. I don't know where some of these spiritual things began, but I do know that there is an African variant of it. Do that one, yeah, if possible.
Yes.
Right. You see, so that what I'm saying is a good example is Haiti and Dominican Republic, right? They're on the island. One island on one side practices ancient spiritual Africanity, ancient Black African customs.
Voodoo. Haiti's practice voodoo.
Yeah, voodoo and all the variants. While on the other side, they call themselves Hispanic, meaning Spanish-like, Spanish speaking. They identify as Spanish from Spain. They do not believe in they believe in racial whitening, and they also demonize anything that is African. So you're seeing that dynamic in it, and that's why Black Betterment reverses that. We reverse everything that was there. We reverse it. We uphold blackness, but we have to be strategic of how we're doing things because Black people are put in so many different pots across the world, right? With different ideologies and different concepts. That's why Black Betterment is a key to use. Why do we say that? Because that diagram we said last week, you have your person, which we represent as a metaphor as a phone. That phone has a religion. A metaphor is operating system, right? But then on that operating system, yeah, you can have an application, i.e. a lifestyle. So regardless of your Voodoo, Jewish, Hebrew, Hindu, New Age, whatever the new religions come out, wherever you are that you identify with, I recommend try to blackify it if possible, but then you can still install your lifestyle on the operating system, and that lifestyle is Black Betterment. And what does the Black Betterment do? It trains Black people to always fix Black issues. It's a code, a way of operating that makes Black people look for other Black people to work with. And in the definition of the concept, it's only for Black people. You cannot practice Black Betterment if you're not within the Black community. And how we're going to segue to the topic is that's why when we say people, they say they're mixed race and this kind of stuff. If you don't identify within the Black community, regardless of wherever you call yourself as a word, right? If you don't identify within the Black community, then you can't practice Black Betterment, right? That it won't make no sense. And you definitely cannot be bringing the people groups that you're trying to identify with via history and lineage into Black Betterment. Black Betterment is just for Black people, and that's why we always use the example of veganism. Once you eat meat, you're not a vegan. There's rules, and like I said, every time I talk about that, like pro-Blackness is such a beautiful word. It's beautiful. The issue I have with pro-Blackness today is if you use it on Google, it just says, "Can you be pro-Black and marry a white woman?" So that means for me that seems to be the number one thing people care about. With Black Betterment, there should be no doubt, right, that Black Betterment is for Black man and Black woman. However, because we're learning from the past, and we recognize that many people are going to come to this at a certain place in a time, we have divisions. We have Black Betterers and Black Betterment builders. So every Black person at some point can work towards doing something constructive for Black people, but there are actual divisions, and there is the ultimate goal, and that is to be a Black Betterer. And that means everything you do in life is to push Black people forward. Voila, there you go.
I like that.
There you go. Elvis copied his style from so Elvis Presley, very talented. You watch the film, very tragic individual. But yes, his entire style was taken from. There's a list of people you see who he studied under. They're very good to see.
Yeah.
They literally sound like. That is very true. Elvis
Little Richard as well.
Yeah, of course, Richard was one of the archetypes. But once again, you see how this is very important, and this is why we have to remind Black people that unfortunately we are collectively inadequate, and unfortunately collectively we have no friends, and we can use people like Elvis as a great case study. We can use rock and roll as the greatest case study. When Black people did it in America, it was demonized and called terrible. When white people did it, it was called amazing and made millions. They called a European the greatest rock and roll of all time. And then they even had a magazine named after Black ideas called called Rolling Stones, and they didn't let Black people in it, and all this kind of stuff. This has been non-stop. All this must be used. And the goal is to make Black people heighten the chance of working with other Black people on Black issues. And black betterment is that key, the lifestyle that forces and forwards black people to work on black issues. And we try to use terms and lingos. Before you guys join, we'll talk. I was on a show that's going to come live soon. A very good brother. And
yeah, I forgot. Still, I was trying to remember that show you went on. I couldn't remember it.
I don't think it's live yet. So he's gonna, when he uploads it, we'll probably unpack it. Very good brother. But he asked me a question. And I said, "Oh, well, I'm pro-black," and he said, "Are you pro-black? Or are you pro-truth?" Now, what I should have said at the time, and I said, "Where did you hear that from?" Because that kind of term would have come from, in my opinion, a misogynist or someone who's trying to marry the daughter of a white man. Because and this is very similar to, you see what we just watched, where the brother was saying, "Don't go on your knees for racism, stand up," right? Where you try to undermine something, but you try to undermine something that is dedicated for black people improving, but you make it sound good. You see? So you make being pro-black like, and they'll use terms like, well, not all skin folks kinfolk, and so a black man beat me up and a white man picked me up, and so I prefer, I don't judge by skin. And there needs to be terminologies to get rid of that. And I recommend you say, I understand the reason I'm pro-black or black better or any kind of pan-African or what it is because I recognize that black people are collectively inadequate and collectively have no friends. So I work with the most constructive black people to fix the issues that are forced upon my people, and I be as constructive as possible. You see, you do that way. So because they will try to use destructive black people as a tool. We had a brother who joined here last week, very straight talking brother, and he was saying that black people have hurt him so much that he can't wait to jump into white society. He can't wait. He can't. He's foaming from the mouth to actually get into black society, white society, sorry, and marry white women, this kind of stuff. So you see, he will use his mistreatment from black people to justify him wanting to be European and jumping to European. And this is, once again, you call this chest. And here's the new word you can say. When you're talking to people, you can say, well, they're playing chess, so I'm playing chess too, and you're playing guess who. That's what you're going to do. You want to drop it that way, right? What we're saying by that is this. The European, the anti-black races, wherever they're from, understands that it takes time, right? And it isn't an overnight thing. They know that they can destroy you in stages, and before you know it, you'll be looking at them as the heroes and you as the enemy, right? And that takes time. So now the people who took your resources, you will run towards them because the people who had no resources, no guidance, you see as backwards and bad, and the people who have all the resources and all the guidance are seen as good. So now you want to marry into them and do that, rather than actually trying to fix the problem that was caused by the person who's got your resources. You see, and this is the chess they're playing. It's a chess, but we have to play chess too, not guess who, and that's what we're doing. We're not even competing. We're playing a different game. We're playing guess who. They're playing chess. So that's what it is. Try to always find constructive ways to correct brothers and sisters. Once again, I say try not to use derogatory language and this kind of stuff, because that will be used to tarnish you. Stay calm, stay stoic. Yeah, be a representation of what you want people to see. If you do that consistently, you will always stand out, and what you say will resonate much more, right? Everything you say that's constructive will be demonized, but you have to find a way to make sense of it. And we give you the tools. And for those who don't know the tools, when you first see it, it's like, this doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to show it to you now. This is a lot of pages. There's a lot of good information here, though. We've got a lot of in the Batman blueprint. There we go. But for those who don't know, if you don't know now, you know, here's your secret weapon. You go, black people are collectively inadequate. Black people collectively have no friends. A constructive black man and constructive black woman make a constructive black family. Those three statements will allow you to say anything in a constructive way. It allows you to say, we want to practice a lifestyle that is just for us. It allows you to say, I want to marry a black woman or a black man. If you're a woman, that is, right? It allows you to say, we can't let other groups in because we're collectively inadequate. So if you come in, we're going to fight amongst ourselves or try to please you or be embarrassed to do anything. Yeah. Also, we know that we collectively have no friends, so we have no idea who might want to sabotage. But we know that when we ask you for reparations, you all say no. So that means collectively we have no friends, right? You can have all these things, but these are the starting statements that allow you to do it. I do believe we're kings and queens and individually amazing good things, But when you start conversations from that power place or that potential power place, people use that to say we're equal. Yeah, we're equal. So that means because we're equal and everything's equal, don't do anything. You see, you don't want to be. You don't want to talk. You're equal in spirit and mind, of course, right? But when it comes to actually your collective positioning, you are not equal to other groups. Other groups are in better places and they work as a team at a superior rate. And they know how to mistreat you with a smile on their face.
That's right.
That's right. It's powerful. That's very powerful what you just said
They
there.
know the techniques. And if you don't, like I said, right, you can always test them. You ask them certain questions, isn't it? What's your views on black economics? What's your views on reparations to black people? You'll see what they're saying. You see? And this is what we're dealing with. Now, today, family, the taste topic was, let's just make sure we got it right, was raised by anti-black racists. We discussed the real world aftermath of black people being raised by anti-black racists. We looked at certain videos where there was a sister. I think the sister might have been adopted, to be honest. We'll just start. Well, let's play. Let's just the beginning of that because it's quite interesting. Just the beginning.
I didn't really.
Let's reverse that. Let's just 4 seconds of this. Okay?
I was kind of raised, to be us against them.
So the individual that said he was raised to be us against them.
I know that if I see a group of white kids and I see a group of black kids, I'm going to be more on guard with the black kids because of the way that I was trained, the way I was raised. I'm just trying to, I guess, be really honest.
His name is.
So this is very important, and if you can, there should be a certain level of respect for Europeans who tell you the truth about racism. They should be like, this is quite valuable, and this can be used as promotion, because if the majority of Europeans will not tell you the truth about racism, and even the small levels, like they won't tell you that when they're in rooms. This is Arabs, Asians, or Europeans. That like I said, you will find black people in a room. And we do not mistreat other non-black people. It's not really in our mind to undermine and mistreat non-black people, right? But many non-black people, it comes natural to them, right? Did you see anyone see Mega Man?
I won't say I respect Brother Asian. I will more say an acknowledgement, because remember, brother, when we're dealing with dopamines, as what you and Brother Musa says, we have heavily been indoctrinated for our dopamines to rely on the best interest of African people. So the moment a non-African tells you something about the unethical code of conduct, it tells the African that they're all okay and this racism is not. So you understand what I'm saying, innit, King?
If there was a bell I could press to get like a horn, well done for that. That's very important. What Brother Kel said is, let's unpack that. It's very important. So even though we appreciate, and this is very important, we appreciate racist or anti-black people telling us the truth about racism. That does not give us permission, or we should not then start being easy or saying, we're now going to share economics and share wealth and marry you, this kind of stuff. It is just an acknowledgement that someone is telling the truth, right? And you respect that, right? But it doesn't change the game. And Brother Kel's correct in the case of some of our brothers and sisters, we cannot control ourselves when this happens. So the rule should just be no celebration, no whistle blowing, just nod of a head. You know what I'm saying? You don't, because it happens a lot when I was at Speaker's Corner. They really wanted to talk about Jane Elliott and the other guy, I forgot his name. Like they really wanted to mention, this is, and we should fight.
They did. Yes, they did.
They did, and we should hold hands and fight together. So all it takes is a non-black person to say, by the way, there's racism for black people to give away all economics, all bridges, everything just down the way. So that's why you need to have a code, and that is you can appreciate internally that someone's saying the truth and use what they're saying as a campaign to highlight others. However, it doesn't mean that that individual or other individuals are now welcome to the actual Black Betterment event thing. And definitely doesn't mean that you should not marry your own women. It's just there. It's a good, nice to have. I didn't want to see. I big up brother Azinga, big up. There you go. Let's go listen to this individual one more time.
Steve Ramey, a Washington father with a secret that few people would have the courage to say out loud.
I know it's a really harsh thing to say, and I don't want to say it, and I know that people are going to take it wrong, but I know that I'm racist, and I don't want to be. I don't mean to be.
Perhaps the real reaction, rather than joy and satisfaction or appreciation, is to not be angry at him. One thing I see black people do, I've seen it in Speed's Corner, is when a European tells the truth about racism, you then get angry and try to tackle them, and then you make that truth harder to come from others because they don't want to be belittled as well. I think you should have a very stoic, appreciative. We know, but we appreciate you saying that loud. But do not tackle, undermine, fight, or get angry, because in the perfect world, every non-black person will admit their racism, which will allow black people to practice black love, black economics, and black health at a higher rate, because we know that collectively black people have no friends. You see? So do not get angry at the truth of the anti-black racists. Appreciate within, but do not argue and fight them for their truth, because their truth is going to help you practice your truth, and your truth is Black Betterment. There you go.
I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to, and that's kind of what we're doing here. Is how do I not be? When it's been ingrained in me for my whole life. I'm 60 years old.
Very important. It's been ingrained in me in my whole life. I believe he adopted a black daughter, or that's either his biological daughter, but something tells me he adopted her.
So my daughter is mixed, and we never really.
So that means they don't mention her mother, but that means he's probably his biological one.
Had a conversation about how that affects her.
He's raised his daughter Caitlin since she was 5 years old.
I went to a mostly white school. I would get called names a lot.
So I don't know I don't know who that woman is next to, but they don't seem to show him up.
They'd call me like brownie, or like racist names, or they call me like monkey, like a monkey. I didn't really know that I was racist. I'm confused with my identities.
An interracial family rocked by a racial justice uprising, searching for answers.
What I can do personally is give my daughter a voice. And at the same time, I'm going to hopefully learn what can I do to be more conscious about being racist.
Starting in February, Facing Race goes deeper with race educator and coach Karina Hooks.
We're just going to have real, honest conversations. What do you think's wrong with you?
Not good enough.
According to who?
To the white man.
To help a Washington family face race head on.
I do say racist stuff, and I don't mean, a lot of it's out of humor.
How does it make you feel?
Uncomfortable and angry.
But what if your jokes and your words harm?
Now I can't even laugh. I know I'm going to be challenged. I know I'm probably going to get angry.
I think there will be, at points in our journey, just some harsh but transformational moments.
I think it's going to be beneficial, though.
All right. So that's a little case study.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
Before you came, we were looking at a UK equivalent. Well, not necessarily similar, but similar in many ways. And that was this rapper individual, I believe, and we were watching his family. He's got quite a lot of kids with a sister. Not sure where she's from, and we were listening. So let's see if we can jump back and where he was talking about. Let's see.
You're just a mixture of the two different types of people that are around you. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like, Hez, do you, because obviously you're the son as well. I know there's another son throwing stuff out of his cot at the moment.
Sorry, I'm just laughing.
Oh, clearly this is a riveting video because she is knocked off. But anyway, we love you, sweetheart. But yeah, Hez, because you are the male and I'm the male, like, what is it like? Because I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like to look at your dad and he's not, even though people say we look like twins, like we have a lot of features like
they don't look like twins at all.
You're talking about correctly.
Twins.
Yeah, twins. That's alright, you're funny. But my skin colour is not the same as yours. My hair texture is not the same as yours. How does that, make you feel? Or
it's fun.
Uh-huh.
Like, because...
In what way? Why would it be fun? What do you mean by that?
Like, because I don't want just one colour.
Okay.
So I don't want to look at you and you're white and look at mummy and she's white, or look at you and you're black and mummy's black.
So you really enjoy the idea of being mixed
half,
race,
yeah.
like two separate races, and why is that? Because it's
Because it's like getting the best of both worlds.
okay.
Brings a bit of
Excellent.
interest, I guess.
Excellent.
So once again, interesting.
That's
very,
problematic, bro.
very problematic.
problematic.
When you say you're getting the best of both worlds, what is it you're getting the best of both worlds? Like, what is the benefit in the sense of what laws has changed, what reparations paid, what economics has been boosted? It'll be interesting to know. But this is what I'm saying. Like, so look, we have to understand that when people are talking to children, that we talk to them in ways to make them feel good and this kind of stuff, and then they grow up as adults and men, women, and then they have these identity challenges, whatever it might be, and people are gonna have different experiences. So in America, the sister was bullied and beat up, and here they've got more of a family cohesive, how they do the Little House on the Prairie kind of vibe going on. But once again, rather than us saying, well, they shouldn't identify this and that, it's more so, what are the benefits? How does this union, or how does these concepts benefit Black people collectively? And how does it dismantle anti-Black racism or white supremacy? And how does it contribute to any kind of reparation that goes towards the ancestors of the colonized and the enslaved? These are much more deeper questions that we won't talk. We won't talk about feelings and skin tone and face and hair, and that's all nice. But once again, this is what I'm saying. Like, whenever Europeans and Africans join any kind of coalition or union, Europeans benefit. Africans don't benefit. Whenever Africans and Arabs have some kind of union or some kind of coalition, Arabs benefit, Africans don't benefit. And this is why we have written in our blueprint that we are collectively inadequate. To know that, does this union I do make me collectively more adequate or collectively less? Yeah, understanding that's important. And these are the questions you're never going to hear. And that's why we want, just like when I said I'm pro-Black and someone said, are you pro-truth or pro-Black? We need those words to hit the zeitgeist into the real world where we say, like, is this action going to make us collectively adequate or collectively inadequate? You see, we need to have these terms.
The whole narrative is definitely method acting, but it's basically unethical code of conduct, because denying or controlling the African human. When I hear the little son brother, I'm going to give him, because he's genetically dominant, that I get best of the both worlds, that tells me that I can be used as the buffer class to oppress. You see, and that's what I'm saying. It's very, very dangerous. Now, I'm being for real, King, man, because that is how. This is how we've been marginalizing enslavement, and even now, this is why when we see the lighter biracial African, we get a little bit, we behave a bit away with them, and they don't understand, because there I get the best of both worlds. That's a very, very unethical statement by the little son brother, unfortunately.
And obviously he's been raised to think this. His mother did try to drop something where she says, well, I went to the shop the other day and people were stalking me and I felt away. They didn't really tackle that issue, but there's many of those things that they haven't really tackled. But it's let's carry on listening. But this is a very interesting case.
You know why I say that as well is because I've often heard a lot of people out there say being mixed race was quite confusing coming up. I've heard that a lot, coming up.
And that's another thing. There's many sisters who have one Black parent out there, brothers as well. And we saw one sister who was actually upset and confused, and she said it in the last one. And I understand that when that confusion comes in, that argument comes in, there's a sense of wanting purpose and wanting identity. And I can never speak for anyone. They have to speak for themselves, and there's understanding. But I think the solutions that's been presented doesn't work in your collective best interest.
Oh, I didn't know where to place myself because I didn't know the whites.
Also, at a certain point, we won't necessarily care. We wouldn't, from a political standpoint, but no one really cares what the identified term people are comfortable to use, because sometimes certain words trigger anxiety. But what is going to be noted is what lifestyle are you going to practice? Are you going to practice racial whitening? Are you going to practice black betterment? Are you going to practice something? So what identify what that is? That will make things easier to say okay, because Brother Kel was right. At some point, it's like it's like, you know, when we're at Speaker's Corner and we're talking, and there might be some brothers and sisters from certain nations, and they want to jump over the wall and they want to let us know we're not black. We're not black. And like they'll literally jump into an argument to let us know that not to perceive their ethnic group as black or African. Well, no, well, so let's say black for now, right? And the way we're saying is we actually don't care what term you want to call or what collective term makes best for you. We're wondering, we're working with all the constructive ethnic groups that have been defined as black to form solutions. Do you want to be a part of that? Now, you can't speak for your entire ethnic group. You can just say you want to disengage, right? But no one here is begging or crying for this ethnic group or that ethnic group to see themselves as anything, right? It's can we work together? If you can't, then we're going to work with the guys we can. And I think that's where it comes. When I talk about open door elitism, the thing is, whenever you try to talk about any concept that brings people together, people start envisioning this concept of like, not fairies, hippiesm, this kind of stuff where, oh no, it's something to be mocked and all come together, kumbaya. They're happy with kumbaya when it's with Europeans and Arabs, but when it's with black people, it's kumbaya and it's a problem, right? So I say, what you do to tackle that, the chess move is you say, well, we only want the best. So, and we said before, we're either going to work with you or work on behalf of you. You see, you don't need to be there for us to create a scenario that's better for your collective, right? But we only want people to practice utility and unity. That's it, right? So if someone's all over the place and wearing 1 foot here, 1 foot there, then we're cool. We're cool.
Didn't really accept me because I wasn't fully white, and then the blacks didn't really accept me because I wasn't fully black. What do you think about that, guys?
Like, all my friends, they just accept me and their other friends, even if they're not the same race as them. So that's what I quite like about all of our friendships.
Okay, and what about, that is a good thing, that is brilliant, and praise God that's the way it is. But what about if someone didn't accept you for just who you are? How do you think you would feel then? Like, say if someone was like, you know, you're not like me, I don't like you because you've got weird hair or something like that. What would you feel?
Well,
Go on,
okay.
Hassan,
Yeah, cool. Whatever. You say what you want.
Okay.
It doesn't really affect me.
Okay, and why doesn't it affect you?
Because...
And less of the sassy attitude, please, missus.
Sorry. Because, I just fit in where I get in, or get in where
you fit in, I like that. I daddy use this.
But then, do you know what? Sorry, go on.
Sorry, baby. Go on, Hallie.
Thank you, Mum. So I just think it's normal because, like, no, not normal. I think it's, like, fine because I'm like, yes, you can say what you want to say. I can just...
You're still you.
Yeah, I'm still myself, and I don't care really what the weirdos say. No offense to the other people who's watching us,
but yeah, but you got to say what you got to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And well done, Hosanna, as well. Hezzy's got his hand up. Go on, mate.
I don't feel weird because like, I've never got it done to me, but.
So you wouldn't feel weird?
Yeah, I wouldn't feel weird because, like, I know that it doesn't really matter because, like, I have got some right to be in a white, like, area or a black area because I've got, like, both white and black, so...
We also just to talk to people like this, because I saw an advert the other day. Well, it was 3 weeks back, and the advert was it was a European woman, elderly, and she had a young black child, but the child was adopted of some kind of this. So it was a man. It was a man, maybe 20, in his early 20s, and then it was saying that my son receives racism from both sides because he's a policeman. And I just thought interesting that they have this advert where a European woman is saying that he receives racism from both sides, thought it was very interesting. And this concept of like every time you talk about mixed unions or mixed people or black and white dynamics, you have to go. There's this creation of thought of, well, both sides of this treaty, and I don't think that is a very I've never heard that. So we understand racism is a black and white dynamic. We understand that for the most part, as in what's seen. But sexism is another male-female dynamic. And I never hear that, oh, well, there's sexism from both sides. You see? And that's why I say you must always use analogies of things outside of black or people or race, because or just from a black perspective, because some black people are so used to being mistreated that we don't even see the signs of the dog whistles, isn't it? Like, you will never hear someone say sexism happens from men to women, back and forth. It's always men are sexist, we have to fix it, and people accept that. But when it comes to certain racism, it's both sides, but both sides are bad.
So then could we in that situation for the African descendant, if they bring a historical event in regards to the police, and then we turn it back to how racism is collectivism, that will kind of neutralize that type of speech. Would you agree?
I agree. And I do agree with the concept of always like, well, can you give me an example of when black people are racist to this people? And then because what happens is when the speakers call them, once again another case study, but they try, and it happens with, you mentioned, I remember Jordan M, you mentioned him just a minute ago, he would try to do this as well, where he would try to go, well, this guy's name calling, so he's being racist. So I said, okay, I'll give it to you, right? You're gonna find a black person name calling versus the enslavement of black people, right? So if you want to call it the same experience, that's on you, but we don't see it that way. Yeah. Also, the name calling seems to come from a reaction to being called names. So I don't say that because when the black person first saw the white person, or the European first saw the African, it was in peace. It was in, come brothers, come share our resources, which was a big mistake. Come to our land and all that good stuff. And then what happened? They were easily enslaved. So it isn't. But then what I'm saying, remember, collectively, black people have no friends, and you will not find one non-black person who tells you this. Very rarely. They usually create some wishy-washy scenario, and then at the end, no solution has been given. Let's carry on, isn't it?
That's what I think.
Can I say, that makes me incredibly proud to hear you guys talk like that, just because I feel like you guys own what you are, and even from such a young age, and I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's so beautiful. Obviously, like anyone who's been around here for a little while would know, maybe I'm not your typical English white guy. However, I just find it so cool that you guys are so comfortable in yourself, because God willing, we've helped you with that, but for you to take it on, that's on you. That's on you. So do you know what I mean? We can't force you to be confident. That confidence.
One thing you have to say as well, because the individual here just said he's English, which is an ethnic group, and white, which is the racial collective grouping. And whenever you have people of mixed unions, this kind of term, we know historically that they could never. So you ask them, could you ever identify as English? They say no. Could you ever identify as European or white? They say no. Could you identify as black? You say yes. So if you have historically been able to, and you've grouped in, you're put in there, whatever, then that shows that history says very different from what you're saying modern today. That's interesting to see of the benefits of why that might happen today, and what the strategy is to one day see the descendants of mixed unions as one group, and now to be a third race, an individual group on their own. It's interesting to see what strategy and what that means. Like, does that cause confusion? Does that rewrite history? What does that do? That's very interesting to find out.
You either have it or you don't. Do you know what I mean? Go on,
I was going to say, I think the kids have kind of already answered. But if you were in that situation where the children were feeling uncomfortable because of their skin colour, like, obviously you're white, so maybe if it was in a white situation, I was going to ask the children, what do you think Daddy would encourage you to say, or how to react if someone was being funny at you, with you because of your skin colour? But I mean, you've pretty much touched on it already, and that is what I think as a father you would want to instill in them. Like
100%.
you said, like your confidence
100%
is what's going to keep you in a place. And go on.
No, go on.
No, and also just being sure of who you are as a person, and also just to put it out there. I mean, some people would say different because of their life experience, but as far as I'm concerned, your skin colour does not define you. Because even between myself and Tim, although I'm black, I was brought up in quite an English kind of environment, and that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
And then with you,
very important. We were
See,
talking
brother,
about
this is very problematic, brother, because when we're dealing with, you see, when we use the term method acting, as you know, brother, that because they have organized themselves so well that they can go under any banner, any character. Like, for example, he's dressing like the urban way, so to say, and that, right? And it confuses black people because it's like, oh, he's not like the English or European because he's dressed like us. And we need to tackle that. When they method act, we have to identify that they're still the same people that oppress and still doing it now.
Well, and that's why having key questions to ask is important. And also like what well, first let's unpack, because the topic is raised by anti-black racists, and the sister just said I was raised in a European environment. Don't know where it was, so that obviously influenced her choices in life, and I guess this is why it's important to raise your children with some kind of social black empowerment awareness, and that's why a question you could ask is like, okay, what is it that you guys do to, if anything, to push black people collectively forward? Is there any behavioral patterns or things you recommend, any templates that you reckon? What's your views on black economics, by the way? What's your views on black families? Do you think that, would you strongly recommend that your daughters and son marry within the black group, get a business, hire black people, create black institutions? Or should he just see what happens, go out and there is no rules, anything goes, and then ask the questions, when unions happen between Africans and Europeans, or blacks and whites, which group benefits economically, socially, politically from that union? Very important to understand it. So rather than, because most of these talks is, how do you feel about white people mistreating you? You're both, you're this, you're that. We could do your hair, this kind of stuff. But how about actually getting to like those deep things? Go ahead.
And then the sister is very unsynchronized because it's a form of method acting as well. Of, I was raised around the English people, so that's all. And this is very dangerous tactics, brother. Because could we say, brother, that both cannot be trusted, whether you are unsynchronized in this particular relationship? Because by her saying that I was raised and looking like us as well, you see, you're marketing that, it's okay to adopt the culture and that, because you'll get benefits of this way, and it's not that bad. Did you understand what I'm saying? And that, so to summarize in that way, because we got limited time. Because when she said that there, man, that I found that very kind of dangerous, man. You know what I mean? She's co-signing the unethical code of conduct.
I just wanted to ask two questions. Yeah.
Go ahead.
One, how important is it for black women to push for nationhood? Is it important for the black woman? Is it important for the woman of a nation to push for nationhood? And can nationhood be achieved without the women of the nation, females of that tribe?
Yeah, good question. Well, no, for people to push forward, you need the men and the women to be on the same page.
But more importantly, the woman has to want it, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So one thing I try to do as well here is, despite the sister being on the TV here, from my research and history, you tend to find that black women are more likely to want to actually find a black man and do
that's right
activities for black betterment. There's education and understanding, and I think what it comes down to, I think because black women are more likely to be affected by so many things that they recognize threats and problems ahead of time. I think, unfortunately, the marketing that the European has done has commissioned many black men to not value nationhood building, industry building, and to try to marry into the family of the European. But they'll market in other ways, and they'll use new terms. And I'm quite strict now. Like anytime I say I'm pro-black or something like that, and someone tries to sway it, I'm seeing that as marketing from non-black people because. And it is for the most part black men, and that's why we can identify that access to to white men's daughters has become a priority in many black men's eyes, and that's why we have to campaign to have black people, black men love black women and see inner beauty, and it's challenging, but that's why we have to really push. And sometimes you're going to be the enemies of black people when you push that. Like the biggest pushback I've ever got usually comes from promoting black love. That's about you see. So we understand, but the reason why it's important is because the pushback's so strong that demonstrates it's an important topic. You see, if the pushback wasn't strong, it wouldn't be important topic. But because everyone knows, especially a non-black person, the importance of nationhood, the importance of black man and black woman come together to form families, communities, and legacies. Now, because they understand it. And remember, that was one of the reasons why. Remember the Anglo variants of the European collective. They wanted to stop miscegenation because of lineage, because of ownership and assets. They're like, because they were fearful. But then the Portuguese and the Spanish, they're like, no, we've got a different technique. We can make the European, the low class European, marry the high class black person and form buffer classes who then in turn marry other white people, and within 2 or 3 generations they then become fully loyal to the Europeans and give all the economics and ownership and reparations from black to white. That was what happened in Brazil. It was successful in Argentina, and that's what they tried in Dominican Republic. This comes any Spanish or Portuguese speaking American based country. They practice what they call racial whitening. There's a Spanish term.
Asian, or Middle Eastern, man, all of it. All of it.
Definitely in the Arab slave trade, without question. So this is like I said, all the scholars I've told you that unfortunately black people are at the bottom. But why would black people not be at the bottom? Africa was colonized and enslaved for hundreds and thousands of years. When it ended, there was nothing done to fix that. Why would they fix it? I hear that, right? But we have to acknowledge that, because if you don't acknowledge that, then you won't understand why we're so many steps behind, right? And all this name game and what should we call ourselves, and we're not African and we're not black and we're not this. Like I said, that all that is just holding black people back, and that's why we need the open door elite to come together to create lifestyles and templates that will push black people towards betterment.
Question for the panel, yeah?
Go ahead.
This one is
Oh, let me put you back in, brother. Go ahead.
Back of my mind when I'm on, in a dark place.
Yes.
Do you think that over these ideas you'd have to fight for them, go to war?
Who's that, bro? I didn't get the last part, brother Musa.
I'm saying, do you think that you would have to fight for these ideas, i.e., go to war
against who?
Against all those that are going to oppose black unity? The same type of people that Raven spoke about that was very against him when he used to promote these ideas. It could be black, it could be other black people, it could be other non-black people.
Oh, most definitely.
Do you think you'd have to go to war?
The unsynchronized Africans and the non-African people, most definitely gonna have to go war with them. That's a destiny. That is destiny.
The thing is, conflict is a big part of history and stuff. And what we try to do here is we try to have the most constructive solutions possible. But here's what it is: if you're dealing with tyranny, right? Where it's like I see tyranny a lot in the sense of I'll be talking to someone and they'll have a hostile attitude towards me, and I'll ask them like, give me the method to make you happy. Give me the tool set to make you happy, even if that makes you better than me. Give me that tool set. And what happens is they're so enthralled of rage and whatever, for whatever reason, that they don't have an answer. They've been programmed to want to harm you. When you're facing those kind of scenarios, then there has
Go on.
you must defend yourself. You must defend what you stand for, if such a thing was to come up. But
Yeah.
this is we try to work.
And there's a likely, and you know that, and you know, Raven, there's a likelihood that you're going to be in those situations many a times if what we're saying is the truth, and that we are this broken. You know that you're going to be in these situations a lot.
Well, it's already happened. It's already happened. You don't do what I've been doing for the years I've been doing it and not face physical altercations of many dynamic levels. It's just what comes to the territory. But what we try to do.
That's why we got security, brother. That's why, you see what I'm saying, with security,
Right.
those who need it. Yeah, for real. Because the thing is as well, brother, is like what brother Raven, myself, and even yourself have gone through. Remember, Garvey went through the same thing. You see, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, right? It was unsynchronized Africans who helped non-Africans to bring him down. The continent, Africa, brother, the continent known as Africa, brother, was conquered and helped by unsynchronized Africans. All our revolutionary thing has always been unsynchronized Africans helping non-African people. So we're definitely going to have to go to war with them, whether we like it or not.
Well said.
But this is one of the inevitable things that will happen when you try to get to certain kind of levels, and the way we've got to see it is that's how things are. Like you're always going to have people who like I guess once you're at the bottom, it's easy to coerce people into fighting for the opposition or to undermine what you're doing. If you look at the leadership in many of these countries, they've been compromised by other countries that benefit from them doing things for them. So we understand. And if you were trying to break that, then an individual or a family group might not be getting the just rewards that they thought they were going to get. So then there's going to be conflict, right? So, I saw a documentary about, I think they're trying to fix up South Africa, but there might be one or two corrupt people in South Africa who benefit from the destabilized societies. So they're not best pleased when they try to get more work and money in the industry.
Well said.
You know what I'm saying? So
Well
they
said.
were officially, you could class them as gangsters, right? And
That's right.
They benefited from this organization and taxing lorries and bricks and those kind of stuff. So, like I said, that's their fate, really. It's what it is.
It can even come within your family, brother Musa.
That's correct.
See what I'm saying? And that very,
Big
very
time.
deep, brother. Very, very
Big time.
deep.
Big time.
Deep.
And that's why we have this diagram here, which is very important. I'll show you.
Big time. Very well said, Kel.
That's why we're talking about this 2.5 innovate, you see, because the idea is to get a small group of people working together to influence the next group. So when things go in stages, then you can build at that rate. So what you're doing, you're trying to find a smaller, more synchronized people that make sense. So when you see me at Speaker's Corner talking to many cool black brothers, very respectable brothers, but you can tell by the ideologies, they won't be in any kind of meeting I'm in. Because
the ideologies don't allow them to.
It doesn't allow them to. So when I say what's your views on black love, black families, like that, and what I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm going to make it more public, right? What tends to happen is you talk to misogynists and people who are trying to promote interracial love and this kind of stuff over black families, and then what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, well, you like Marcus Garvey, or Marcus Garvey was a member of this particular kin group or this kind of thing," and then they try to undermine everything someone like Marcus Garvey or Malcolm X or someone. They try to demonize it. What I would say is I would say, well, the thing is, brother, I say this, the work that Marcus Garvey did at the moment is greater than the work you've done, right? So your job should be to try to do more work, right? rather than demonize him for a group you allegedly believe he was a part of, what thing you believe is right or wrong, or being born here, or whatever. He has done more for black people collectively than you have. So that has given you now the task to up one. But you're not in the same league to mention his work because you're not bringing any credentials to be able to pull it down, you see? And you say it with kindness. You say it with kindness, like, because some people, the culture they live in, they're very comfortable to just undermine greatness. They're like, the thing is, when you see any black person of the past who got anywhere, you've got to understand it wasn't like how it is today, and they would have faced 20 times more challenges, right? Yeah, but yet they persevered, and they passed the information on. So we've got to have some kind of respect for the information they passed, and what they try to do, they try to demonize the person, so then that then demonizes the information. That's what they're trying to do. You see, right? That's what they'll start. Oh well, he did this, and he married this woman, and then he went over here, and this kind of stuff. And so just be very wary of that. And that they too are unfortunately. Oh, you know what? I was showing the thing, but it's not even on the screen. I'm a madman. Yeah. So yeah. So when we're saying that, it's at 2.5%. So in every single black collective, either city or nation or group, 2.5% are the innovators. You see. Yeah, the pro-black scholars, the Afrocentric scholars, the black Betterment scholars, the black template creators, the Pan-African scholars, the B1 scholars. Yeah, and that is split into two groups. You have the architects, and then you have the what are they call the architects, and also my memory's getting so bad. The architects and the engineers. There you go. So the architects within that 2.5%. The architects are coming up to what we're doing here. We're coming up with the ideas, the concepts. We're making it. We built those ideas, and then the engineers are going to go and spread them. They're going to be your social guys. They're the family people with the biggest mouth and the biggest connections. So within that 2.5, those two groups, and we're going to come up with those ideas that work in black people's best interest, and then they're going to spread it. And hopefully, the early adapters, which is 13.5% of people, they're going to go and spread it. And that's how innovation works, brothers and sisters. That's how it works. Every single concept you've seen that happens in a social setting, it starts by a 2.5% of the population, right? Well, actually, 2.5%, and within that, it's 1 to 5% of that particular population. So this is how it works, and that's what Black Betterment does. We create the words, the languages, the concepts, the industries, all these things that work in black people's collective best interest. And when you go out and you face any kind of challenges, you come back here and go, look, I was talking to these brothers and sisters, and they said this is not right. Here's how I'll respond next time. And we keep iterating, we keep developing, because we're dedicated to helping black people progress. Why? Because black people are collectively inadequate. You see? And if any other, and another thing, what will happen as well, another method acting happens a lot. You'll be talking, and then a European will say, oh no, you're not collectively inadequate. You stop offending yourself. They'll try to do that kind of both sides of the fence thing. And what you say is, no. To you, I am collectively adequate because I'm working on your behalf, you see. So to you, we are adequate because we're working how you want us to. Yeah, but to us, we're inadequate. You see, you flip on their heads like that. It happens a lot. It's a both sides of the fence technique. Like, if you call yourself good, they would say you're not good. If you call yourself bad, oh, you're not bad. It's just one of those kind of things. Right? But yeah. So we actually are coming to the end of the show. But we're joined by Brother Kel and Brother Musa, and we've been supported by Brother Dominique, as well as Empress Kush was in here for that. Any kind of words or last things you want to say before we kick, brothers and sisters?
It's good that you've highlighted the 2.5%, because a lot of us, I know that we lack hope, all of us, and we're trying to, innovate for the best interest. But the fact that you mentioned that we are a minority, the synchronized Africans, right, is very important. So I commend the Black Betterment organization for highlighting that. Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
You know what I would say is, when you look at what's going on the ground compared with the facts, it's not a good look. You would need a lot of faith, but it's not a good look. It'll be very hard to in download and hold on to Black Betterment ideas in the present tense in Britain a country where black folk are the minority in a majority white country. It's not. It'd probably be easier in a black country.
I have to disagree, you know, brother, with due
You
respect
think
to it,
so?
because living in Africa and etc., brother, you know, we were taught to be around the synchronized African, because remember, unfortunately, brother, we started the civilization every, but at the same time, we have been indoctrinated of the Western values, brother. So because of unsynchronization, it's like you're dealing with Asians, Middle Easterns, and Europeans with some of our brothers and sisters. So you're gonna, regardless of where you are, you're gonna have to immerse yourself, consume in nationalism, brother, regardless of where you are. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Unfortunately.
What's that, Dominic? Afro Rose cover what we're saying? Okay, cool. I listened. I think I listened to a bit of us. Check out Sister Afro Rose. Not these days. Cool. But yeah, if any questions in the audience, let us know. But we're gonna bid everyone Black Betterment. If there's no one else, then we can go. But yeah, good show, good show. Thank you, brother Kel and brother Musa. Done well.
Yeah, no problem.
Until next week. Just so you know, probably more so in December. My workload's going to change. I'm still going to be doing the show, but it just means that the format might be more not slapdash, but more like I don't know. I don't know if I'll have as much videos to because I have to render them and make sure you don't get struck, that kind of stuff. But we'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine. But anyway, you have a good day, family. Black Betterment to all.
Black Betterment.
Black Betterment.
See ya.